These two knives are carried by thousands of people. They are desired by thousands more people. They're talked about and reviewed on social media by anyone and everyone who has anything to do with everyday carry or EDC community. These two knives don't need an introduction. However, if you wandered in here from watching a Muzzato kitchen knife or bearskin tactical hoodie commercial, then just for you, I'll introduce them. This is Microtech Stitch, and this is Vosteed Raccoon 2. This is badassery incarnate, and this one as friendly, as sweet, and reliable of a pocket knife as you will find today. Well, what happens if one is in the camp of people who don't have $300 to spare on a guy like this, but desire something with lots more testosterone than this cutie? Well, a few months back they got together and Kancept Fenreer appeared. Of course, this knife is marketed under the name of Tenable Fenreer. Tenable is a budget line for Kancept knives. With the Raccoon, it shares the locking mechanism and overall handle shape, being a little heavier duty due to thicker liners. And with the Stitch, it mostly shares the overall blade shape. They're not identical, but clearly you can see the DNA of the Stitch. Alright, enough about genetics, let's do some testing. The Fenreer's blade length is 3 3/8 inches or 87-ish millimeters, and the cutting edge is 3 1/8 of an inch, or we're gonna say about 81 millimeter. So as you can see, the addition of this immense finger choil did not detract much from the useful cutting edge length. Both parents being robust knives and pretty heavy duty knives, let's see what this baby weighs. I got 116 grams or 4.1 ounces as compared to the Raccoon at 3.7 ounces and the Stitch at 6.6 ounces. In your pocket, it will carry very similarly to the Raccoon. Alright, what you see here is what I call my hype smasher. As you can see, the knife is clamped and there's this modified wooden clamp. It's clamped in such a manner that it resembles the hand grip. The pieces that hold it in place are steel bound in rubber hoses, so there's a little bit of a play. The knife is not rigidly installed there, just like it would be in your hand, in my non-medical opinion. The other part to it is the modified arbor press. What I did, I removed the cranking mechanism, and so now this 2.5 pound ram can free fall like so. When I drop it on the blade, the free fall equations work out to be about 40 pounds of force acting on the spine of the knife. As long as I maintain 6 inches between the bottom of the ram and the blade. And that's why, because the knife is slightly recessed, every knife is a little different, in this channel here, I usually mark with a pen where that line is. I'll mark it on my side. You can see that, but I can't. And so I raise the ram up to the mark, and the rest is simple. And now I test the knife's lock, see if it still unlocks properly, or is it jammed. And it unlocks. Kind of hard to get to this bottle lock. Raise the blade again. Bring the ram down to the line. Another strike, and it passes. Man, there you go. The lock's still working. And final strike. and the knife passed. Now, people question how reasonable it is to test knives this way. Judging by many a comment that I received from my regular viewers, several people got injured by accidentally striking the spine of a knife on a workpiece and blade closing onto their fingers. And I, in general, think the lock is there to keep the knife locked. As you can see, the function of the knife remains the same. There's no side-to-side play. Main concern in these tests is up and down play, and there is none. So this knife passed with flying colors. This next test damaged more knives than the Hype Smasher you just saw, because it puts an immense amount of strain on the blade and the internal components. Before we start, let's check the blade for straightness. It appears perfectly straight to me, but to make sure, I'm going to do a little boinking test. I can detect by feel, sight, and sound if the blade is perfectly flat. You can see and hear that it is. And now, with the help of my little friend here, I'm going to hammer it into this hardwood clamp. I'm going to about 3/8 of an inch depth. The blade there is not at its thinnest, but it hasn't reached its full thickness on the spine as yet. And now, on this carpenter's compass, I preset a 15-degree angle, and I'm going to bend it 3 times in one direction to that angle. Next, I'm going to apply a torsion demonstration here. I'm going to torque the knife in each direction, 3 times in each direction, to see if it will damage or dislodge any of the internal components. Oh boy. Can you see? It bent quite a bit. I got at least 4-degree bend here, maybe more. So I'm going to put it on the concave side first and let you see and hear. You can hear that rattling because this part of the spine is hitting the edge of the block here. But if I flip it over onto the convex now side, I can feel the tip rising when I do this, but you can see it's pretty well bent. Oh well, you can see it here. The centering stayed. There's probably no play in this or that direction. But this Nitro-V did not hold up to my little test here. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm going to put it back in and try to bend it back some. You will never get it back to completely straight. And you have to now be mindful of the fact that the steel at the tip is weakened. So, yeah, I brought it back some. It's really hard to get it perfectly straight again. More of a trial and error, there's no science to it. Yeah. All right, I got it as close as I can. If I sharpen it right now, it will do some weird stuff near the tip. And now I'm wondering what kind of amazing heat treat led to this ductility level. I have to congratulate Kancept on a good design. The bearings feel great above typical Chinese ones. They're not multi-row, but they're really good. I'm holding in my hand here a calibration block, which is certified. This is the paperwork for it. It's independently certified to be exactly 62 HRC. Actually, it's 61.99, but I don't think there is a device that can read that accurately other than in a very specialized lab. This is the industry standard, the Rockwell tester. Meets all the ASTMs, but the test I'm about to conduct is not industry standard because I'm only testing one sample. The standard test would require a sample of 5 for lots less than 150. 150 and higher, you are measuring 20 samples if you want to stick to the standard methodology. I seriously doubt, though, manufacturers do it to that extent, because at that point you might as well test every single blade. And I got 62 spot on, maybe just a hair under, as it's supposed to be. We're good to go. Let's test that blade. My copy has a Nitro-V blade. Tenable has the exact same colorway in 14C28N steel. Those two steels are closely related. Both are derived from AEB-L steel. Nitro-V has the best corrosion resistance out of the three, and 14C has slightly better edge retention and toughness compared to the other two. 60 to 61.5 HRC is typical hardness range. It can go higher, but few manufacturers ever venture into higher hardness territory in those budget steels because it requires quite an extensive process to be. Something is not right. I can already tell. Give me a second here. I think I might have poked it too close to an edge or to the hole. I have to be at least 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch away. So let's take it out and redo. Pay attention. Anyway, where was I on the steel? Yeah, so Nitro-V can go up to 61.5 without breaking the bank of the company, of the manufacturer. But very, very few would dare to go above that. Mostly custom makers can do that. That requires aluminum plate quenching, serious cryogenic cycle. I mean, it's involved. What worries me after bending the tip is the fact that they applied PVD coating. At least it looks like PVD. It could be Cerakoted, but I don't think so. What's going on here? This is not right. This is a butter knife hardness, 56.5 HRC. You can get 420A at higher hardness. Did I mess up again? Let me see. Nope, I'm in a good spot, guys. I was not expecting that. Which brings me right back to the stupidity of applying coatings on a most stainless blades. PVD or Cerakote both require high temperatures, 250 to 350 Fahrenheit, to be applied and cured, in the Cerakote's case. Guess what is the post-quenching tempering temperature for Nitro-V? It's in the exact same range, and it's definitely going to affect the hardness. So if they temper the blade before it's coated, it's like tempering it again to much lower hardness. 56.7 HRC. There is no sugarcoating this one. Checking if I maybe misplaced it again, but I'm good. I'm following the procedure correctly. I kind of suspected when I bent the tip that the heat treat will be low, maybe 58, maybe 59, but I did not expect 56.5. Kancept makes this knife under its own brand, and the price range there is $100 more than what I paid for this one. Steels are S35EN and some other powdered steels, which should be better, but if they don't have the culture of pre-planning the coating process, meaning skipping a tempering cycle because they know they're going to coat the blade, then they're just a bad player. I'll let you fill the blanks in what I'm saying here. 56.3 HRC. And the average is 56.5. Guys, I'm sorry, you have no idea how disappointed I am. Maybe I jinxed it by comparing it to a Microtech knife. Most of the knife collectors, knife enthusiasts know that Microtech is not particularly keen on giving us the highest possible hardness for the steel. But even they improved the heat treat of M390MK lately by a whole point of hardness. And while Kancept was able to replicate or maybe even improve the excellent Vosteed's action, the heat treat on this thing is